Hi everyone, welcome to this video. So in this particular session, I want to solve these two questions. So I've picked these two questions from Mathematics Paper 1, 2025 November. So this is the exam that was written just last year. So let's see how we're supposed to go about these two questions. So let me just go straight into solving the questions. Okay, so the first question says find the integral of 6x squared minus x plus 3 dx. So this was 2 marks. So what are we supposed to do here? So we want to find the integral. So I want to introduce you people to something called the power rule of integration. So according to this rule, so every time you have a function, let's say you have a function axn plus b. Okay, we want to integrate this. So by the way, when you see this symbol, it simply means integral. Okay, integral. So we want to find the integral of this function. So according to the power rule, what you just want to do every time you have a function that has this form, it's pretty easy the way you integrate. So what you do is, you see this power n. So what you just want to do to that power is you just want to increase it by 1. Then you divide by the same new power. This is what I mean. So we're going to have ax, then n plus 1. You can see it was n, but I've added 1 now. Then once I do that, I divide by the same new power, n plus 1. Then every time you see a constant, when you integrate a constant, what you just want to do here is you just want to give it x. Okay? And because we don't have any little numbers here, sometimes you see some little numbers, we call them the limits, okay, or the bounds. Okay, so because we don't have those limits, what we want to do after doing this action, we just want to add a constant c there, plus c. Because we're not finding the exact value here, and we're adding this constant c, this type of integral is called an indefinite integral. Indefinite because we're not finding the definite value. We're not finding an exact value. So it's called an indefinite what? Integral. Okay. Now sometimes you'll see this integral written like, you're going to have some numbers, let's say 1 to 2. Okay, we can have the exact form like that. Okay. This time around, you want to consider those limits. Okay. In the future videos, I will explain how. I think I've also made some videos where I've explained how to handle limits. Okay, you can just look it up on my video list. Okay, you'll be able to see it. So this time around, when you have these little numbers, you're going to be finding an exact value. And that exact value, so you're saying you're finding the what here, the exact value. And this exact value actually represents the area. Okay, because you're finding the exact value when you have these little numbers, the limits, we call this the definite integral. Definite what? Integral, because you're finding an exact value. Okay, so let me just solve this question based on what I've explained here. So let's see how we can apply this information to solve the question that we have today. Okay, so we want to integrate this function. So solutions. So we have the integral now of 6x squared minus x plus 3 dx. So let's use the power rule. So I said 6x, you increase the power by 1, so you're going to have 2 plus 1 like that. Then divide this by 2 plus 1. Then what you want to remember here is that if we just write x like that, the power is 1 like that. Okay, so we're going to have minus x there, this one, but the power is 1. But what are we supposed to do? We need to increase the power by 1. Then we divide by the same new power. Then you can see this is our little constant there. What do we do to the constant? We give it x. So plus 3x. Are we seeing any numbers here? No, we don't. We don't have those numbers, okay? We don't have those numbers. And if we don't have those numbers, what do? We add the constant c, because this is an indefinite integral. Okay, so what we're going to have now is 6x. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we divide by 3. Let's just clean up. Minus x. 1 plus 1 there is 2. We divide by 2 plus 3x. Then plus c. Okay, let's just clean up. We simplify. We're almost there. So you can see 3 there, 1, 3 into 6 is 2, then 2 times x to the power 3, we're going to have 2x to the power 3, then minus x squared over 2 plus 3x plus c, okay? And we are done. Okay, this is how we are supposed to handle this question. So this is your answer. Okay, so let's go to the next question. The next question was on vectors. Okay, so it says the vectors A, so we have vector A, which is a column vector, of course, 7, 2, vector B, m negative 3, and vector C, 5, and n there, are such that vector A plus twice vector B, 2 times vector B, so you can see twice vector B, is equal to vector C. Find the values of m and n. So this question looks hard, but it's actually very, very easy. What we just want to do here, we just want to follow this statement. This is where our answer will come from. The statement clearly says that vector A plus twice vector B is equal to vector C. So we're going to use that information and solve the question. So what I want to do here is I want to drag this question. Let me just try to drag this question. So let me just try to, no. Let me drag this question. Okay, let me take it down there. I don't have space there. So let me bring it here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm saying our answer will come from this statement. So vector A plus twice vector B is equal to vector C. So let's just use this statement and substitute what we have. So vector A, so I'll use this vector A plus twice vector B is equal to vector C. So vector A we know is 7, 2, plus twice vector B is m negative 3, equal to vector C is 5n. You can see how I'm doing the substitution there. Okay, that's what you want to do. Then what it means here is you can see that when we add vector A to twice vector B, we should get vector C. Okay, so vector B has been multiplied by 2. We call this number a scalar, okay? It's a scalar. So how do you handle a scalar? So if you have a scalar, if you have a vector, B multiplied by a number outside, that number should multiply every entry of that vector. Okay, every member of that vector should be multiplied by that scalar. So what I mean here is we will still keep our 7, 2 like that. So plus, so 2 will multiply m. So we're going to have 2 times m, which is 2m. Then again, 2 multiplied negative 3, 2 times negative 3, that's negative 6. Then this is equal to 5n. So now what we have here is a situation where we're adding two vectors now. You can see we're adding vector A plus vector 2b. So we're now adding this vector and this vector to give us that vector. So how do you add these column vectors? The way you add column vectors is pretty easy. You just want to add entries that have corresponding positions, meaning 7 plus 2m is equal to 5. Okay, so that's what we mean here. So this added to that should give us that. That's what we mean. Okay, and this added to that should give us that. Okay, so let's do it. So what it means here is that vector, I mean 7 plus 2m should give us 5. Okay, apart from that 2 plus negative 6 should give us n. That's how we're going to handle this. And you can see we now have two equations which we can easily solve. So how do we solve these equations? It's pretty easy. So I'll start with this, the first one. 7 plus 2m equal to 5. How do I solve this equation? So 7 should cross the equal sign. It becomes negative. So we're going to have 2m equal to 5 minus 7. So 2m is equal to 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And to find the value of m, we need to divide both sides by 2. So you can see that m is equal to negative 1. So that is how we could have solved for m here. We do the same. So let's solve for n. So we have this equation which says 2 plus negative 6 equal to n. So this is solving itself already, you can see. So we have 2. So we multiply these two signs. Okay, so positive times negative is negative. So we're going to have 2 minus 6 equal to n, meaning 2 minus 6 is negative 4 equal to n. In other words, n is equal to negative 4. So that is how we could have handled this particular question. Okay, so that's how you solve such questions, and that's how you do it. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Okay, try to share the video, leave a comment if you like it. Until next time, it's bye for now.